As it says in the press, if there's one trend you need to pay attention to this year, it is quiet luxury. This trend is all over the internet. It is inspiring fashion, it's inspiring how people live, it's inspiring homes, and so of course it's going to inspire baby names. I think quiet luxury names are hot on the heels of all like the big hitters last year, like Margot, which went rising up, Noah, which became our #1 name. They've got something special about them, but they are quiet, they are timeless, they are elegant, and they are that investment piece. And what bigger investment piece are you going to get than your baby name? So stick here. I've got a beautiful list of boys and girls names which are the ultimate in quiet luxury. Who said finding a baby name you love is easy? Not me. That's why I'm a baby name consultant. I search off the A to Z to find you a name you'll truly love. Follow me for weekly current name trends, inspiration and data so you can find a baby name that's as special to you as your little one. I'll go girl, boy, girl, boy. So for girls, how about the name Bianca? Now I know some people would say this Bianca, but in the UK we would say Bianca, and I just think it is such an understated name. We don't hear it enough. It's actually at number 449 in the UK, so it is having a little bit of an upswing, and I think that's because it's got this quiet luxury element to it. It's not too showy, but it's definitely a second look name, isn't it? If you heard somebody called Bianca, you'd be like, wow, that's a good name. Where did you get that? Have you been watching YouTube? It means white because it's a variation from Blanche, which I particularly do love, but I'm into those sort of fugly vintage names, and it is really popular in Italy, but it hasn't really been seen here so much, but it's got this real 70s vibe to it because of Bianca Jagger, and the Rolling Stones are back. I think this name should come back. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think it really hits high and it could stand alongside a Margot. So if you had a Margot and you thought it's just too popular, you could bounce onto Bianca because it's got the same sort of quiet luxury vibe to it. The names in this trend are so lush because you can just imagine the guy. The name is Otto, my first boy name. I love the name Otto. I have a nephew named Otto, and this was actually on my name list as well, and it means wealth. So it's got that kind of stylish quality that you would get from this kind of quiet luxury trend. It's not going to go out of date. It's not as trendy as an Oliver at the moment. It's a bit further down the ranks, but it is rising up through. It's a number 162. It has a really historic, it sounds modern, but it's a very historic name. It was the Roman emperor was called Otto the Great. So you're actually picking a name from history that sounds super, super modern, super understated. It's that beautiful with the simplicity of the letters being the same first way and back way. That was elegantly said. You know what I mean. I love the name. I think it is a great choice. I think an Otto would stand out so much more than a lot of the other O names that we have higher up the charts. Quite similar, a name that is so underused, it's like a crime, is the name Romilly. I love the name Romilly so much. It again means from ancient Rome, and Roman for boys has become really popular. I actually think it's a little bit too trendy for this sort of quiet luxury list, but a Romilly is so amazing, and it really stands out much more than, again, like an Emily, which is a sort of more minimalistic traditional name. Romilly is elevated to that sort of quiet luxury status. It's actually at number 788 in the UK, and it's remaining pretty steady, so you wouldn't be jumping on the next big name trend, which I know is important for us because we are unique and brave namers on this channel. I love the fact that from Rome also means to Rome. It was a pilgrimage, so it's a really nice idea of this person who's going to go out there and explore. So it's got a really lovely feel and elegance to it. A gender neutral gem is the name Darwin. I absolutely love it. I really wish I'd have thought of this name when I was naming my boys because it's so beautiful, and it means dear friend. So Dar meaning dear and Win meaning friend. Win is such a popular sound at the moment. We're all over it. Obviously, you think about the theories of Darwin, his theory of natural selection. Why did I have to look at that? I should know that. Theory of natural selection. So it's quite a famous name, and it's got that sort of surname as first name cool to it, but it is a first name. It's more used for boys, but there are some girls called Darwin as well. So there are only 17 boys named Darwin last year and 4 girls. I think it's such a beautiful name. Again, it's got that sort of elegance to it, but it's got that excitement to it. You'd be like, that is a cool choice, but it seems like something that is easy to introduce. And I always say to parents, when you're picking a more unique name, make sure that you feel it's it's easy to say, that you would be proud to introduce yourself as being called Darwin. It's not so out there that it's going to like have loads and loads of conversation around it, but it is special and unique, and it's 100% got that quiet luxury vibe that people are really after at the moment. Another super rare girl name, the name Marta. I love the name Marta. I think with Margot being so popular, Mabel being so popular, all those M names that are coming through, Marta is where you need to go if we're looking for the real rare gem that's a bit more classically understated as well. I just think it is so beautiful. I always think of Marta from The Sound of Music, which is my all-time favourite movie, and she wants a pink parasol. Do you remember that? Just me. It's actually a Swedish name, so it was a Swedish shortened name, and it was a royal name in Sweden for a few years. And I just think, again, it's got that real classic of a kind of Anne, and then the sort of beautifulness of like a Margot, but it's really, really unique because it's lower down the charts. I really love it. It is playful because it's a nickname of Margaret, Marta, but it's just so lovely, and it's got that real European Riviera vibe to it, doesn't it, Marta? And I love it. For boys, I think with quiet luxury, going quite short and one syllable is one way of getting a really impactful name. It's not sort of less, it's sometimes really, really punchy, and one that's really unused is the name Gabe, just by itself, and I absolutely think it's so trendy. So it's biblical, of course, so it means hero of God and from the angel Gabriel, whereas I do love Gabriel. I just think Gabe has its own sort of strength and structure and that sort of quietness to it. It's a little bit pared back, it's a little bit minimalistic, but it is definitely got its own style going for it. I think if you were brave enough to use a nickname as a first name, or if you have a very long surname, having a shorter name is really, really great. And I think Gabe just gonna stand out amongst the playground as a really bold statement choice that is quiet and gentle within itself as well. This girl name is unranked, and my sister-in-law was raving about this name when I was in Sweden this summer. Apparently it's so popular in Sweden, and it's the name Estrid. So rather than Astrid, it's Estrid, and it is a really famous Swedish interior designer, and the name is starting to really pick up some traction with modern parents who are after this sort of quiet luxury Scandinavian style, which we all want so much. I just think it is a beautiful name. I've always liked Astrid but never fallen in love with it, and I actually really love it with the E. I think it's just got that really lovely elegance to it as well. It means fair and beautiful goddess. Nice, who wouldn't want that as their name meaning? I just think it's really lovely, and it's got that kind of Viking vibe that a lot of people really, really love, that sort of Scandi vibe. But I think with the E, it makes it a lot more elegant, a little bit more like a Eleanor, but it's Estrid. I think it's gorgeous, such a good one. This next name was only given to 7 boys with this spelling last year in the UK, and it's the name Jacoby. I am obsessed with this name. I've definitely mentioned it on the podcast before, and I just think it is really odd that it's not more used, because we hear so many of the other variations of this name, like the Jakes, the Jacobs, the Jack, and Jacoby is languishing there, just a little gem to be picked up and used by you. And I love the little B ending. I think it gives it a real round softness to it, but it also has, you know, Jacoby sounds a little bit more shoulders back, prouder, a little bit more luxurious than going with a Jacob. It's got a little extra E at the end, doesn't it? And it makes the B sound a lot more gentle and playful as well. I just think it's a great name. It means supplanter. If you're looking for a name that's similar to a James, which is a very quiet luxury name, but much more modern, much more standout, much more statement, I think that Jacoby is really cool. One reason people might struggle with it is because some people say Jacoby, and I think in the US they say it more like Jacoby, and they put the co stronger in the middle, but over here we would say Jacoby, and I think it is absolutely wackety. Ranked at number 412 is the name Agnes, and it is so lovely, and it is not even anywhere near the top 100, so you'd be having such a unique name, and it's beautiful, and it comes with the nickname Ness if you really want a little short sweet nickname as well. And I think Ness is an absolutely adorable name. She was the patron saint of young girls as well, so it's got that sort of lovely feminine vibe to it, even though it's quite a strong name. And I just think it is so quiet luxury, it's so confident within itself. Agnes, you can see a whole collection of one of these fashion lines doing the Agnes line, because it just brings to life, it feels very, very French, very European again, but I think it is absolutely beautiful and languishing down the bottom. Boys, I might have gone too wild here, you tell me, but I actually really have a bit of a crush on the name Bertram. I think that with Bertie being around so much, Albert's right up there, Alfred's right up there, I think you can easily make that jump out onto Bertram. I think it is so cute. It is a surname as first name. It's a Harry Potter name. If you want a secret Harry Potter meaning in your baby name, and who doesn't? I just think it is such a cool name. It means raven as well. So it's got a kind of a almost Game of Thronesy type of vibe to it, Bertram, but it's also got that old English feel to it. And I just think it could really stand up against a lot of the more popular names within this trend. So if you were going to go, for example, with something like a Timothy or a Benjamin, it would be really easy to make a bolder statement by going with like a Bertram, and it's much more fashion, it's much more of a statement. You want your little baby to have something that really stands out, then this could be a really, really cool choice for you. And then you've always got Bertie as your nickname. Outside the top 500 at 517 is the name Meredith, and I've always really thought it was a really, really beautiful name, and it really is similar to like a Charlotte. Again, we're talking about these sort of more classic luxury names, but Meredith is so much more unique. It's got that kind of modern vibe to it with this M that everyone's obsessed with at the moment as well, but it's also got this kind of old gentry type of vibe to it because it was originally a male name, but now it's become a female name. And I just think it's really on trend with Meredith from Grey's Anatomy, the Mayor of Easttown, and then you've got Mary as a more playful nickname. But I think Meredith is a really forgotten gem that really stands alongside like the Alices and the Charlottes, like I said, and could be a beautiful choice, especially if we're looking for like a second name to complement a kind of vintage first name or more traditional, but you want to be a little bit more out there, a little bit more daring with our seconds, we seem to be. Then Meredith could be a really beautiful choice. So Noah is the number one name at the moment. Ezra is its sort of fashionable little brother, and then Ezekiel is where you take it to the quiet luxury end of the scale, which is where we live. That's where we belong. It is a beautiful name. It is a Hebrew name, Ezekiel. I think it is so cool. I think it is timeless because it's a biblical name, and these names are known all around the world, so it's got a real strength to it as well. And you can even use Ezra as a nickname if you really want to, but it's a bit like a Nathaniel, Ezekiel. It's just got something a little bit extra to it. It means God will strengthen, and it just really is that sort of strong statement, standout name, but it's not too try hard. It's not too much, I don't think. I think it fits within the confines of being this kind of quiet luxury because it is a biblical name. It's not a name that's made up or too modern, but it sounds super on trend. So tell me, do you like Ezekiel? Would you go with it? Do you know anyone who's gone with Ezekiel? Let me know, because I'm fascinated to know what you think of all these names. You know I love the chat at the bottom the best. Okay, do two more. So for girls, how about the name Ingrid? I think Ingrid is so stylish, so beautiful, and it's only at number 734 in the charts. If you're thinking of going with Isabel, really have a good think to yourself, do I want to go with Ingrid? Because it's so stylish. It is not as soft maybe as an Isabel, but I think that's why it's got a bit more grandeur to it. It's got a bit more substance to it, and it sounds a little bit more luxe. It's been around since the 1940s in the chart. It's Old Norse, and it means beauty. Very, very nice. And I think where we've got so many Imogens, so many Isabels, Ingrid has got to have its day soon, and it could be your day to have a little Ingrid. I think it is absolutely adorable. It's almost like a little sing-song name with a little Ingrid. It just sounds really lovely. It's so complete. It's very luxurious. When they're a little bit stronger, it gives them a bit more substance to it, and I think it could be a name that really works for a baby, a teen, and an older woman as well. My last one for boys in the quiet luxury trend is the name Barnaby. It is again a longer name, but with really, really simple syllables, so it's very, very easy to say. It's a vintage name, but it's almost one of those that for a while has been so out that it's now in. It's just outside the top 200. It's at 229, and it's very, very classic. But what I love about Barnaby is it's got this quiet luxury, but it's not stuffy. It's still playful because it's a bit like Jacoby, where it's got that sort of little playful ending to it, which I think makes it much more modern sounding and much more within this category rather than a vintage, timeless category. This category, it needs to have a little bit of that extra sparkle about it with this quiet luxury, and I think that's what Barnaby really brings to the table. It is my son's middle name, Barnaby, so obviously I do really like it. So the Barn bit was from like a Saxon word for a young warrior, and then the B bit is kind of like a settlement, so it's kind of this young warrior settlement, which is quite cool as well. It's got a cool meaning to it. It's kind of Saxon, it's got a bit of Danish in there, it's got everything going for it. I do have a couple of wild cards that I like to put in at the end. Well, these are ones that I'm kind of like, I always think I go a little bit out there with them anyway, but what do you think of Oh, I love this. I'm giving you away such a crush here. The name Bertie for a girl. So when I was talking about Bertram, I just started to get obsessed with Bertie for a girl. I think it is so cool. It's so quite luxury. There's only 3 girls named Bertie last year. And what I was struggling with this name was what would her long name be if you didn't want to go just with Bertie, if you weren't brave enough to. So let me know, because like Alberta and those ones, they're not that cool. So I'd love some suggestions for a longer name for a Bertie as a nickname for a girl. It's very, very Chelsea, isn't it? It's quite luxury. It means bright or fame. And I think with like Elsies and Millies around, a Bertie could just really, really fit in. Gender neutral is a massive, massive trend at the moment. Nickname as first names is a massive trend. So I'm reckoning on Bertie for a girl name. What do you think? And then the last one I have as well is a gender neutral, but it has only been used for boys, but only 10, is the name Jarvis. I think this has a real quite luxury about it, because again, it's very simple to say, but really, really unique, which is what we're looking for. And it's got that sort of surname as first name edge to it. You might think of also 90s Britpop as well, which takes you on another side of it. But I think it's actually a French surname, and it has been used a bit as a first name, as I said, just for 10 boys. It means spear, and it's kind of around fighting for good in a little way. And I just felt like you could walk down that runway in your quiet luxury outfit, be called Jarvis very, very easily if you're a boy or a girl. What do you reckon? Which was your favourite from this list? I am so appreciative that you've been here and watched the video. I'll be back every single Monday doing baby name lists for ideas and inspiration. So do share with your friends. Please do hit subscribe, because as much as I can grow the community here, that really, really helps me, and will help you as well, because I can do more and more content on the channel, and I want to get back to doing all my baby name content very, very soon. We've got quite a lot of things in the pipeline coming up. Happy Baby Name Monday, birth announcements below, long names for Bertie, all that good stuff. I'll be here chatting. Bye guys.